Now, I literally just go like this. I'm like, boom, boom. So, we're going to, so it literally is a square. So basically it's the measurement, the length of it is going to be from PIP to wrist crease, right? That's the length. The width is just going to, you want to wrap around the half of the joint a little bit. So it's going to be the length here of the metacarpals, right? And that's pretty much it. Now, what I do is I will take the orthosis and I will round it off, right? And then when I take a look and I measure it, I'm going to indent it. So I'm going to indent it right here where the small finger is, and then right here where the index finger is. There's always, if you take a look, there's an angle. It's a very mild angle, but there's an angle, and there's an angle here too. So therefore, when you're doing it for your splint, it's going to be a little bit angled as well, right? It'll be a little angled as well. So now, where the knuckles are, I just snip it, right? And that's where I'm going to doggy ear it, right? You see how I did that? I just doggy eared it. I'm trying to record. Doggy eared it here, and I doggy eared it here, right? Sometimes I like to, so this is what your orthosis essentially looks like, right? Now, when you're molding it, you actually don't have to do too much. A lot of times people overdo it, and then it becomes harder than it needs to be, right? So I always like to position them, right? And one technique you could use is to have them make a fist and let their hand rest on it. All right, so if they make a fist, they can just rest their hand right into it. And I like to make sure I get them real comfortable, and I like to make sure that they are, no one ever does this. You have to push them. You have to coax them into the position, right? So you have them just put their knuckles here and then just relax. And one thing that I like to do is I like to, do a little bit of the manual treatment to coax the MPs where I want them to be. And because I can coax it, I'm just gonna have them hang out here. I need the best position so I don't have to work hard. I always like to do some of the manual stuff first, just a little bit. If I see someone real stiff and I need to get them to about 60 degrees, right? To about 60 degrees, I need them to relax a little bit because most of the time they're gonna be here. Right, so I just need them to relax a little bit, and so I will make sure I work with them a little bit so that I can loosen them up. The other thing I like to, it's not going to go over your IPs, right? It's not going to go over your IPs. However, I like to make sure I work those a little bit if they are curled in, because it helps them to relax. I'm doing everything to help them relax a little bit so that when I go and make the orthosis, it's gonna be, nice and easier for them, right? And it's gonna fit them better if they're not fighting me. So these are essentially exactly the words that I tell them. So this is what I'm gonna do first. I'm gonna work with you just for a few minutes, get you in a real nice position, blah, blah, blah. That way it's gonna help you relax and you're gonna feel looser, and so you won't fight me when I'm making this orthosis. I literally say those same words. And then I measure them. So I take the orthosis, you can measure however you're comfortable doing. So at first, if you're kind of in the beginner stage, you might take and measure them out. If you're a little bit more intermediate, you might just do the little thing and you're like, boom, boom, right? And then you trim, so I'll heat it up a little bit. and then I'll trim. So when you're trimming, don't make it so hot, because then the material gets too soft, right? So you get it out, you can almost like air it out a little bit, and then you trim, knowing that you're not forming it yet. When it's hardening, you can take it and you can apply it and say, okay, where am I too long and where am I too wide? The length can be cut. How long it is can be trimmed. How wide it is, much harder. So if you're going to make sure anything fits, it's going to be the width, right? So when you put it on and you're like, wow, this thing is so wide, and you're thinking, oh, I need to trim, don't start here, start from the sides. You get the sides in, it's really going to help you, right? So that's better fitted. So I always say when you're working with an orthosis, the middle part, the one that you can't easily dip, that is the part that you need to focus on while the material is hot. If the ends are the ones that you can dip, then you can take care of those last, because once the middle part is made, I could easily dip this, trim it. Dip this part and trim it if it's too long, right? But if this part is wide and you're trying to put it on, and now it's in a curled, bent down position, and you go to trim it, well, you're not gonna get smooth lines, you're gonna struggle because you have to go around this, and then you have to try to curl and turn through. So it's definitely a lot more challenging.